doesn't really matter which injector goes in which cylinder. They're all the same. Alright, before we put the rail back on, we need to put a few seals in there. And we got a couple of seals here. I've already put one in cylinder 1. And basically, you just put the, without dropping them, put the seal in there like so. Press it into place. Let's see. There. Okay. This one down here. And the last one down here. Groovy. Okay. Okay. So taking the fuel rail, it's a three-handed job if you're videotaping it. I'm taking the fuel rail and I placed it back very carefully, gently pushing it back in place as to not pinch a O-ring or a seal. As you can see, they just go directly into the block, and they thread over these posts here, which you will secure down with two 10mm nuts. Once you get those secure, we can go on to the next step. Alright, back in the engine. What we've got here is a reassembly. Basically, we got a vacuum hose here that connects to the fuel rail right down here. Don't forget that one. That one's going to kind of hang low after you take it off before the or right after the disassembly. So be sure to put that one back on. Then we got a sensor here and bracket here. This portion will go onto that bracket, and then you've got two 10mm that will hook this sensor up to the back portion of our intake. Alright, it's time to put the fuel line back on. Don't forget your important little washer here. It goes down over like so. Now, your fuel line, it has this little bracket on the side that only allows it to fit one way. So, you basically can't get it wrong. Alright, now that that's on there, we need the banjo connector. And this banjo has yet another washer of its own. So, if you will, slide it over like so, and only hand tighten your connector. Only hand tighten. We don't want to break the plastic cap. Okay, make sure I'm straight here. There we go. And we'll tighten, and that'll do it for the fuel line. Alright, now we're going to continue hooking everything back up. First line of business here is we got a 10mm bolt right here holding this bracket, which grips underneath. It's got a L-shaped bracket, and it basically hinges underneath your fuel rail there. You got your metal tube here, and then you got your short little vacuum hose here, which you just basically push back into place. That takes care of that hose. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my bolt here. One more turn should do it. We should be back in business. There we go. Okay, so we got these lines right here, and basically you got one line that goes in here. You got a hose that goes right here, and don't forget your clamp. You'll need to tighten that clamp down with your needle nose or whatever pliers you're using. So I'll go ahead and do that. I might have to replace this little hose here, as these needle nose aren't going to do it. I accidentally pinched it. Not bad enough to where it needs to be replaced now, but it's something to keep in mind for the future. Okay, so that's in place. Got another vacuum hose here. On to the next line of business. So I've taken off my bungee cords, which is holding back my electrical line here. What I wanted to show you is a couple of cables that need to be routed back to where they belong. I'm going to unhook this hose, which I've prematurely plugged up. Yeah, try to keep a good eye on the order in which you do these things. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck unplugging and plugging things back. Okay, so with that out of the way, bam. Put that back where it belongs. Now I can put my hose back, which goes over our electrical lines here. Okay. It's on nice and tight. Put this back on. There we go. And now we can come back over to the other side. See what's happening. Okay. You got a groove right there and your timing cover, which routes all your cables through that groove. Nice neat place to put them. And you got a little snap right here for the cables on this side. They're not going anywhere. Alright, after you're done with that, start plugging in all your injectors. Plugging in all your electrical connectors to the injectors. Don't forget the connector to this guy right here, this little sensor that we had to take off earlier. Okay, I've got everything rerouted. All of our cables are back in place. They're in their little grooves so they don't get caught up or sit on the block and melt. Last course of action here is we're going to plug in our EGR